Okay, so popping on today, I'm a little bit red, excuse me. I hugged somebody today that was wearing perfume, and that's just how sensitive I am. So that's a big reason why I use essential oils, because I don't react like getting super red and stuff. I've already put stuff on it. This one's getting better, but the ones on my face, sort of where I leaned into her jacket, I'm still red. Anyways, so I thought I would jump on today and have a little conversation around cooking with essential oils and about my views on ingestion and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because I've had a couple of people say, oh, not super comfortable about it. Like, what's your view? So for me, so this is a tough one. I really struggled back and forth with the fact that a lot of the multi-level marketing companies suggest ingestion of oils. So just because somebody says to do something does not necessarily mean that it is the right thing for you. For me, I really struggled with this one. I really did, because I know through my own research that if you ingest a essential oil incorrectly, you can do massive harm. Yes, essential oils are safer than pharmaceuticals, but they are still extremely strong. They are not diluted. They are a massive concentration of that plant or that herb to create just a really super potent part of that plant's cell structure, I guess we want to say. So when I am having a drop of peppermint is equivalent to like 28 cups of tea. So like, just to give you an idea of how strong that is. And before I started this live, I added essential oils into a cup of water. Now, most of us think, okay, oh, they say that, if I put a drop in my water, then I can just give it a mix and drink it down. Okay, so here, let me just turn you around to my lovely desk. So here's the cup of water that I've put the essential oil in. Now, hopefully you can see this. So if I stir it, you see, okay, there it is all on the top. Now, you see how big those droplets are? Like, this is just a regular sized fork and a regular cup, but once they stop spinning here, I got excited and spun really fast. But you can see how all the molecules now are going back to each other, right? They're not mixing with the water. They're starting to attach back to one another to create one big lump. Now, I only put 2 drops of essential oil, peppermint essential oil, in this water. So peppermint is a hot oil. When you ingest it, you can possibly do damage to your esophagus. It can burn you, it can give you blisters, create lesions, and these are things that we don't see happening. So when somebody says to you, oh, just drop it in the water, for me, I'm like, no, look, like huge molecules. So then my second thing is I've made tea. So you can see my tea here. Now, see how tiny, I've added essential oils into my tea. And by doing that, I've done that with honey. So I've put honey in a cup. I mixed it, the essential oil in. I mixed it really well. And then I put the water in with the tea. And so the tea, it's not sitting on the top like it was with the water. I've used like a carrier. You can see teeny tiny little molecules in there, but they're really dispersed well within the tea. So for me, that's the only way I feel somewhat comfortable in ingesting an oil at all. Now, the stuff in my tea is not peppermint, it's actually frankincense. I've done a lot of research around frankincense, and I feel comfortable personally ingesting it, but only in a way that's mixed with a really good carrier oil. So, so for me, that's the biggest thing. So when you're cooking with essential oils, you definitely want to still be using a carrier oil, because you want it to disperse well within whatever you're cooking. And you certainly don't need a lot. example would be like, so oregano, here's some oregano. If you were to use a full drop of oregano, that's like at least a teaspoon to a tablespoon, depending on the quality of your dried oregano. That's the same amount. So you can imagine if you're making a pasta sauce and you're only making it for 2 people and you put a whole drop in, it's going to totally overpower whatever you're cooking. So, you know, a good way to get around that is to use a toothpick, and you can just actually put the toothpick into the bottle. Sorry, I didn't think about grabbing one, but you can put it into the bottle, give it a little tip, and then pull it out, and you'll have less than a full drop. And then you can add that into whatever carrier oil you're going to use before you put it into your recipe. So, you know, like you can use avocado oil, here's an example, coconut oil, I don't know if you can see that. Oop, there we go. Some coconut oil, obviously olive oil. These are the sort of the healthier oils. Avocado oil has a higher smoke point, so if you want to cook at a higher heat, definitely use like an avocado oil as opposed to an olive oil. But I always, like, if I'm going to cook with it, here's an example. I made soup the other night. So in my soup, I put the oil into the pan first, then I put my onions in, and in with that I also added my essential oil as well. So I'm adding it into the carrier oil. I'm adding it into, hey Christy, I'm adding it into the oil that I'm cooking with first. So that it disperses well throughout my recipe, so that I don't end up with the full drop in, you know, one piece or 1 spoonful of whatever eventually, like the soup. So that's a little bit of a tip for you. It's one of those things that you have to play with, because, you know, even using like a drop of lemon is equivalent to a tablespoonful of zest. So you can imagine if you add 1 drop of lemon and you're only looking for, you know, a teeny tiny little bit of like would regularly be zest in your recipe, that's a huge thing. That's a lot. That's a lot of oil. So it really is cost effective too, because if you think about it, you know, what do you pay for oregano? Here in Canada, say I buy a thing of oregano, good quality, you know, $7 or so, like if it's an organic, you know, and I know where it comes from, dried herb. So, you know, $6, $7. And then if you get like a bottle of oregano, I don't know what it is. It's like, I'm trying to think of what I don't even know off the top of my head how much the oregano costs, but let's say $20. So, I mean, literally there's 250 drops in a 15 milliliter bottle. So this would last you so much longer than just your, you know, package of dried herbs. And I mean, if you're a cook or you are a baker, you know that even your dried herbs that sit in the cupboard, the longer they sit there, the less potent they become. With essential oils, they don't degrade nearly as quickly, and they last a lot longer. And so you can actually, it's a way more cost effective. So yeah, so there's an example. The other thing I was going to just touch on too is, you know, a lot of people are saying, oh, just put them in a pill and swallow them. Well, okay, the other thing about that is when you put your essential oil into your, whether it be a gel cap or whether it be a veggie cap, doTERRA sells the veggie caps, you never would want to just put the essential oil into the cap like that and swallow it. Thank you, Christy. Oregano's $24. So, and even if that oregano, dried oregano lasted you a year and a half, you'd have to continue to use more and more and more of it because the potency decreases over time. Whereas, you know, it's going to last you a heck of a lot longer in the bottle, and it won't degrade as much. So, oh, that's what I was saying. So the, if you're going to add it to a pill, you don't want to go more than 20% of essential oils in the cap, because you really need still an 80% carrier oil into that. So a good way to do that is, you know, you fill up the cap almost completely full with, you know, your avocado oil or your olive oil or your coconut oil or whatever, and then you can add it in that way. You know, a lot of people are really uncomfortable about ingesting essential oils, and I totally get that because I was that way for a long time. But I would never, ever just add it into my water because then it's not dispersing, right? I'm going to add some pictures in underneath this when I'm finished of the difference when I stirred it into my tea, and you can actually see where I mixed into the honey, because honey is another way to use it as a carrier, so it will disperse correctly within whatever recipe or cooking or whatever. So that's usually how I personally do it, if that is my choice. Now, I also want to add that everybody has a different tolerance to essential oils. So here's an example. My son is 11. He is extremely sensitive to everything. He's just like me. Even the On Guard, which is already mixed with carrier oil and it's a blend and all that, and a lot of people use it neat, I can't put it neat on him because for him he's super sensitive. So, but for other people, you know, they may not be as sensitive to it and can put it on. But also, if it works for you and you're using a carrier oil, there's no point in putting it on neat. It doesn't mean it's any better. You're able to disperse it throughout your skin, throughout, you know, whatever. So I don't know. Hopefully that sort of answers a few questions. You can pretty much use any fat. So like if you're baking, I mix it in with the butter. If I'm baking and I'm only using, you know, olive oil or vegetable oil. I don't personally use vegetable oil anymore. But if you are using vegetable oil, that's okay too. A lot of people like margarine, not good for you, but a lot of people use it. That's yet another fat. So pretty much anything that is a fat where it's going to actually mix with it instead of separate from it. That's going to help you to make sure that you're using it in a way that's safe. So if you have any questions, drop me a line below. Obviously, doTERRA advocates for ingestion of oils, but for me personally, I think ingestion is okay as long as it's being done correctly and you're doing your homework. Like if I'm going to ingest an oil, I'm not just going off of what doTERRA's website says. I'm going to be doing my research. Robert Tisserand is a good person to look up if you have questions about essential oils because of all the research he's done in that area, and he really advocates for non-ingestion in a lot of ways, and for making sure that things are mixed well so that if you're putting something on your skin, yeah, it's kind of like more is not better in this area, right? Like more contact with your skin with an essential oil doesn't necessarily mean it's better. You know, another thing is for bathtub, I don't know if you've ever seen my posts about my baths, but you don't ever just add a drop into your bath because again, oil, you're putting that oil directly onto your body. So, you know, I'll mix it with a carrier oil as well as my bath salts and then mix it into there and then put it into my bath, because then it disperses throughout and it doesn't just concentrate on one area of your skin. It's going to separate into a lot smaller particles, and then it just doesn't you know, all hit you in the one spot, or it doesn't attach to the side of the bathtub, because quite honestly, that essential oil drop could attach to the side of the bathtub and then you'd get no benefit from it except for just maybe a little bit of aromatic. Anyways, so hopefully that asked some questions. Again, just to do a quick recap, just because it's natural, just because people say it's okay to ingest it, doesn't necessarily mean it's safe. So do your own research. And oh, yes, Angel, I could put it in my water with honey. Yes, I did that. And those are some of the pictures I'm going to post below, just to show you the difference between oil on top of just plain water and oil mixed with the honey inside my tea. So I'm going to post some of those pictures below as well when I'm finished and I get off this live. just to give you a opportunity to see the difference. But I mean, you can experiment too, right? Oh, the other thing I'm going to touch on really quick is just that not all oils are alike. So please, if you're watching this, I'm not saying you have to, go out and order doTERRA, but please do not buy your oils from Michael's or Walmart or whatever other cheap place you have, because you have no idea what's inside those oils. The one thing with doTERRA is that on the bottom of your oils, I don't know, here, let's see if I can see. So on the bottom of your oils, doTERRA, there we go, has this number. You can go into the, God, what's it called now? Christy, are you still there? Is it the success.com? No, it's something else. Anyways, I'll post a link below too, but you can go in and actually put the number into the site and it gives you a full report. So you know exactly what's in there. It's a purity report. I mean, we're not scientists. We can't really read them all that well, but at least I know that what I'm looking at is pure. It doesn't have additives in it. And it is exactly what says is on the bottle is inside the bottle. So for me, at least I know, with the essential oils that I'm getting, they're a good quality oil. The Slim and Sassy, what is Angel? I'd like to put Slim and Sassy in water, but I notice it doesn't disperse. Exactly. So, I mean, we really shouldn't be just dropping it into our water. I know that doTERRA advocates that, but you could definitely disperse it in with tea. Some people put coconut oil in their coffee. Apparently it's supposed to be, don't quote me on this, but if I remember correctly, you can go on to just Google it, and there are benefits to putting coconut oil into your coffee, and people compare it to a creamer. It makes it creamier and tastes better, apparently. So if you're a coffee drinker, I mean, you might want to try that. You can always add it into drop into the coconut oil and then drop it into your coffee and see what happens then. But yeah, no, I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go Google that again. Anyways, so that's it for today. I will definitely drop the pictures down below for you, Angel. And I will also add the link to the doTERRA website where you can check and see your quality reports. All right, bye.